Welcome to Within the Madness, March 29th. This is the women's edition. Before we let you know about what happened last night, currently in the Mercado region, it's a 3-4 matchup between Arizona and Indiana. Arizona, 46-44 lead after 3. You might want to tune in. That fourth quarter should be fun. It's a very close game already. And again, you guys already know what's on the line. It's a chance to go to the Final Four. And whoever wins this game, this will be the first time in their program's history that they reach the Final Four. So that's what's on. History's being made for someone's program. You know, they got 10 minutes to figure it out. Got one more quarter, unless of course it gets the extra time. Last night, you know, we saw a 6 take down the 2 seed last night in the Hemisphere region. Texas took down Maryland 64-61. Charlie Collier with 16 points and 11 rebounds. But Vic Schaefer in that defense, man, he dialed up a special. Maryland, Cardell's mentioned, and I'm gonna let you guys get to this as well if you want. You know, they did not handle it well, and they still had opportunities, still were within the game. I think it was Lambert late in the game side 59-59. Maryland went to run a set, not very crisp. She poked the ball loose, snatched it up, raced down the other side, put Texas up 61-59. And after that, you know, Texas, hard as they fought, they weren't giving that up. Texas was up 3. Katie Benson had a pretty good look at a 3. Did not fall. But Texas is marching on, so they are in the Elite 8. Man, look, they play tomorrow night. They take on South Carolina. Got some WNBA prospect type things going on in the post in that game. Definitely looking forward to it. In terms of, you know, we had a big game earlier. The whole timeline was watching. You know, they did it as a community. So that's always a good thing when it happens with the women's game. Let you guys get into this. But Baylor and Connecticut felt like old times. Did it feel like an Elite 8 matchup? Because usually it happens a little bit later when these two teams see each other. The Huskies won 69-67. It wouldn't be without some controversy, depending on who you talk to. Dejanay Carrington, it was a no call. She drove to the basket against Aaliyah Edwards and Olivia Nelson Dodo, and there was no call. A lot of people thought there was a call. Many people on Twitter had different clips already up talking about it. What have you? It was no call. UConn held on. They will be moving on to the Final Four. Paige Beckers led Connecticut with 28 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 steals. And Alyssa Smith had another big game for Baylor, 14 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists. And for Baylor, obviously cannot mention this game. It has to be mentioned. You know, the game definitely changed when DeDe Richards went out the game with an injury. It changed the trajectory of the game. Like, to me, that was almost bigger than what happened late. But DeDe going out changed everything for Baylor. She's a big piece of what they do, especially with the way they like to play. She's the tone setter on the defensive end. She's literally their heart and soul. And her leaving the game, you can see, you know, it weighed on them a little bit, but want to hear what you guys have to say about it while I get these clips up.
Yeah, like you said, when DeDe went out, that's when, you know, the shift happened. I felt like Williams on UConn, she picked it up, you know, to help Paige offensively once DeDe went out. But it was a typical Baylor UConn matchup, heavyweight matchup. They're going back and forth. I felt like Baylor to me should have won. But the one thing about UConn that's always been the standard since Gino, since forever, is they stay in the moment and they execute. No matter the situation, no matter the height, no matter the game, they steadily just execute throughout until the clock hits 0. The only way you beat them is if you out-execute them. I felt like when the game got tighter towards the end, Baylor started being more and more erratic. Shot attempts, defensively, defensive breakdowns, and they just weren't as composed as UConn. And that's what makes it tough to beat them. Fine, let's be real. Yes, that last play was a foul. Yeah, she came down. You're taught on basketball, when you have your hands up, keep it up. And they force her to shoot over you. She actually came down and hit her in the face. That's a foul. But the ref didn't call it. They didn't call a lot of fouls like that throughout the game. They let these ladies play. So you can't be cool with the majority of the game of them being physical, let them knock each other around. Then on the last play, you saying, well, they should have made that call. You gotta you got they let them play. They let them decide it. You know what I mean? It's tough. You obviously if you're on Baylor's side, you saying it's a foul or not. But that was the nature of the game. They was getting knocked around. Baylor was being extra physical. Like they was knocking UConn around all game. Yet, like Gino said, I think they only got 2 free throw attempts in the first half. You see what I'm saying? So what did UConn do? They could complain at halftime. Gino could go to the rest. Like, what are you doing? What happened? They just adjusted. They just played. You know what I'm saying? So that was the end of the game. Bottom line is UConn made more plays in the fourth quarter down the stretch than Baylor did. How about that 3 that Paige hit? Where no one was even in the vicinity. How did you lose her? She was the one killing y'all all game. That's the last play. You see what I'm saying? Little mistakes like that add up in those type of games. So, it is what it is, man. It's when you play UConn, you got to beat them. You can't look for the refs to help you or not. You gotta take them out. And Baylor had the opportunity, but they didn't execute. They didn't take advantage. So, that's why UConn's moving on to the Final Four.
Yeah, man, this was a knockdown, drag out brawl, and UConn came out on top. And, like you guys said, everything changed when Dee got hurt. She tried to give it a go, but she was obviously impaired to the point where she just couldn't be out there. So, but kudos to Baylor for battling back with her out the game. I thought that I didn't expect it to go down to the wire like that after she left the game with the injury, because UConn, man, they didn't immediately put their foot on the gas, and it looked like it's about to get out of hand. But Baylor, they stayed the course, put their heads down and got back to work. So shout out to them for that. Dejanay Carrington, she had a great game on both sides of the ball. Man, the interior defense for both teams, like Hardell said, it was super physical. Super physical, but
not to cut you off. What's that girl name on Baylor? Smith?
Yep.
Melissa Smith. Yeah.
She beating that joint like she looking like Kmart back in the day, just beating that joint. I'm like, God. She was letting them go past so she could recover, beat that joint. I was like, damn. Hey, man. They was going at it, man. But my fault. Go ahead,
man. You good, yeah. But then, Melissa Smith, she's super athletic, yeah. So she gonna let you get past so she can time that joint and put it in the photographer's row. But man, this was before Maryland and Texas was my favorite game of the tournament so far. I think this one said hold my beer, man. This was a great game. Great game. You can't and don't settle it with the last call. Like, many things happened during the game to determine the outcome. Baylor missed 7 free throws. 16 for 20 from the line is not, that's reasonable expectations as far as I'm concerned. They were 13 from 20 and they lost by 2. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. So, I mean, I know it makes for good barbershop talk or what have you, but, you don't diminish this game to one call by the refs, and again, like Cardell brought up, down the stretch, Baylor's decision making wasn't the greatest, and they did get a little erratic with their play. They went like after Dee went out the game, I expected UConn to get a healthy dose of Melissa Smith, but they went too many possessions without her even getting the ball. That was their advantage at that point. So they settled for a lot of outside jumpers. They didn't try to feed her down there. So, that's the result, man. And UConn left the door open down the stretch, and they just couldn't capitalize. So, I mean, it sucks for their season to end that way. But and Wilson, like you brought up, this matchup usually happens a little later. But unfortunately, the women's side had 6 number 1 seeds this year. So you know, it is what it is, man. We got it in the Elite Eight instead of the Final Four national championship. But yeah, man, everybody couldn't get a 1 seed. So, you know, we saw some people a little earlier than we normally would have. But yeah, man, great game. Great game. It's gonna be hard to for the ongoing rounds to match that. So yeah, man, congrats to UConn, man, because they toughed that one out, like, for real, you know. Super physical game.
Man, look, don't sleep on that Texas South Carolina game tomorrow. That
Job about that. Jesus Christ.
You talk about post presence, it's about to be some furniture, man. Look. What I say, what we was talking about earlier with WNBA, with the Mystics player run against the Aces. Everybody had ice packs. It's gonna be one of those games. Like, had ice ready, dog.
What's it called? Was walking around with red arms the entire series. Emma Meeseman's arms were just red the entire series.
And
they never got back to their natural corner yet. Yeah.
Hey, Latoya Sanders, she probably. Hey, I don't feel like dealing with that no more. She like, I'd rather retire. Yeah. I'll be player development coach. Like, Cambage beat on her, man. Like, she took a beating because Deladon was hurt. Yeah, she took a beating, man. So, I mean, that's what you're seeing in these games, man. It's physical. Truth be told, the women's game is more physical than the men's. Like, we just
way
keep it up.
More physical.
So, yeah, Texas, South Carolina gonna be mean. Louisville, Stanford, I feel like gonna be more of a chess match type of game. Yeah. But Texas, South Carolina, they going.
Yeah.
And let's get this going.
And not to get too far ahead, you know, but to piggyback on what you were saying, like, that's gonna be the other crazy thing once we get to the Final Four, though, right? Is there's a couple teams that like the styles that they play, it's gonna be crazy. Just because some teams haven't dealt with that physicality yet. And everyone responds to it differently.
Yeah.
Like,
because I was I tweeted last night. I did not expect Maryland to I expect them to respond better to Texas defense, but it's different when you out there in front of it.
Yep.
Like, they haven't faced anything like that this year. So
and Maryland, Maryland was different because they fell apart emotionally. It wasn't physical. They was cool physically. It's just that when things started getting rough, they couldn't make shots in the fourth and all that. Emotionally, you start seeing them get frustrated. Like, think about, when have you seen Ashley get frustrated? That's when I knew, like, they in trouble.
Yeah. That was the second time all year I've seen her having an emotion, like an actual feeling.
She's usually Kawhi-like. She just hoops. Mm-hmm. And she since youngin', she always like that. So when she started acting out, I'm like, but she's the floor general. She can't. They looking at her. You know, she's a sophomore. They looking at her. I like, it ain't looking good. So and think about it. If I'm an opponent and I see you doing that, keep doing what we doing. We about to take them out the game emotionally. Then mentally they're gonna be out. We got the game, and that's what happened. So it's a learning experience, man. It is what it is.
We got some great games ahead of us. Some great games ahead of us on both sides as this tournament comes to a close. Well, I'm also very happy that these recaps are down to a couple games tonight because y'all put us through it. The opening rounds, I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy to be here. This clock only says 14 minutes instead of 44 minutes.
Oh man.
I told Ray before we close, before I get too far left, did the notes today, and I was like, that's it? Did I miss something? I'm done. Like, it wasn't 3 pages. You know, it's bad when you get in the notes thing on your phone and you start scrolling, and it takes a while, man.
Oh yeah. That first weekend, it felt like we covered the entire league, man.
Oh man,
it really did. But you guys make sure there's 3 minutes left in this Arizona-Indiana game. 3-seed Arizona leads 4-seed Indiana 57-50. 2:56 on the clock. It is on ESPN. Check it out. Thank you guys for hanging with us tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night. We got the Focus TV. We'll be back for Within the Madness both the men's and women's, and the Wizards play. So we have Wizards Outlook. So we'll see you guys again tomorrow night. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. And I'm looking forward to not seeing anybody on Wednesday. That's the goal. Y'all have a great night.